stop whatever you're doing right now and listen. The man who has ruled Iran with an iron fist for 36 years is dead. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, 86 years old, the face of the Islamic Republic since 1989, was killed yesterday in a joint American-Israeli strike so precise it hit him while he sat in a meeting with his top aides inside his own compound in Tehran. Within hours, Iranian missiles were raining down on Israel. Explosions rocked American bases in the Gulf. Airports from Dubai to Doha slammed shut. Sirens screamed in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. And today, on this Sunday, March the 1st, 2026, Israel is striking back right in the heart of Tehran again. This isn't a movie trailer. This is live. This is now. I'm Jack Harlan. 40 years I've sat in this chair, covered Desert Storm, 9/11, the fall of Baghdad, the killing of bin Laden, every twist in the Middle East. Never in all those years have I opened a broadcast with words that felt this heavy. Tonight we're going to walk through exactly what happened, why it happened, what it means for every single one of us, even if you live thousands of miles away in Singapore or anywhere else, and the questions nobody is answering yet. If you think you already know the story from your phone notifications, stay right there, because by the end of this, you'll understand why this single weekend may rewrite the map of the world. Let's begin.
Friday night into Saturday morning, February 28th, while most of the world was sleeping or starting their weekend, American and Israeli warplanes and missiles began a coordinated assault that had been planned for weeks. Israeli officials later told reporters the date was locked in 2 weeks earlier during talks in Washington. The first wave hit military bases, missile sites, Revolutionary Guard command centers, and, most dramatically, the Supreme Leader's own compound in northern Tehran. Iranian state television confirmed it themselves. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was killed in that opening strike. His body was identified. Along with him, at least 40 senior Iranian officials died in the first few hours, including the commander of the Revolutionary Guard, the defense minister, and other top security chiefs. Sources in Washington and Jerusalem say the strike was timed perfectly because Khamenei was meeting his inner circle. President Donald Trump went on Truth Social and in a video message and said it plainly. Khamenei, one of the most evil people in history, is dead. He called it the single greatest chance for the Iranian people to take back their country. He also said the heavy and pinpoint bombing would continue uninterrupted throughout the week, or as long as necessary, to bring peace to the Middle East. Now here's the part that made the world hold its breath. Iran didn't wait. By Saturday afternoon, their ballistic missiles and drones were already in the air. They targeted Israel directly. Sirens blared in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Israeli officials say one civilian was killed, more than 120 injured, but they didn't stop there. Iran hit American and allied bases across the Gulf, in the UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, even Jordan. Explosions were reported in Dubai, Doha, and Manama. Gulf governments say their air defenses shot down most of the incoming fire. No American casualties reported so far, thank God. Then, early this morning, Sunday, March 1st, Israel struck again. Their military announced a broad wave of strikes in the heart of Tehran. Fresh smoke is rising over the Iranian capital as we speak. That's where we are right now. Day 2 of open conflict between the United States, Israel, and Iran. Curious question number 1. How did two countries pull off a strike that killed the supreme leader in his own backyard without a single leak beforehand? We'll come back to that. Let me take you back for a moment so you understand why this death is historic. Khamenei wasn't just another leader. He took over after Ayatollah Khomeini died in 1989. For 36 years, he was the final say on everything in Iran. Nuclear program, support for Hezbollah, the Houthis, Hamas, every missile test, every slogan of death to America. He survived assassination attempts, cancer rumors, and massive street protests. He was 86, frail in recent photos, but his word was law. When Iranian state TV announced his death today, they declared 40 days of national mourning, black flags everywhere. President Masoud Pezeshkian called it a great crime. A transitional council is now running the country. The president, the head of the judiciary, and one senior cleric until they pick a new supreme leader. In my 40 decades, I've seen leaders fall. Saddam, Gaddafi, bin Laden, but none carried the religious and political weight that Khamenei did inside the Islamic Republic. His death is like removing the keystone from an arch. The whole structure is now trembling. Question number 2 for you. If the man who held Iran together for 36 years is gone in one strike, who steps into that vacuum? And will they be able to control the Revolutionary Guard and the hardliners who are already screaming for revenge?
Iran promised revenge, and they delivered fast. Missiles flew toward Israel. Drones and rockets targeted Gulf bases hosting American troops. Iranian officials claim one Israeli strike hit a girls' elementary school in Minab, southern Iran, killing dozens of children. That number is still disputed. Some reports say over 100, others lower. Independent counts from human rights groups put total civilian deaths in Iran at around 133, with more than 200 injured. Iranian Red Crescent says over 200 dead in total across the country. On the Israeli side, one confirmed civilian death so far, more than 120 wounded. 40 senior Iranian commanders gone in 48 hours. This is the human face of what looks like strategy on a map. Families in Tehran burying children. Families in Tel Aviv rushing to shelters. I've covered too many wars where leaders talk about targets and objectives while mothers cry over small coffins. That part never gets easier, no matter how many years you do this job. Stay with me, because the next part directly touches your life, even if you're watching from Singapore right now.
Senior Minister Lee Hsien Loong spoke yesterday and put it in the simplest words possible. This is going to affect energy prices and impact countries far away from the Middle East, like Singapore. He's right. The Strait of Hormuz, right next to Iran, carries almost 20% of the world's oil every single day. If shipping slows or stops because of this fighting, oil prices can jump fast. Analysts are already talking $80 to $100 a barrel if it drags on. That means higher petrol prices at the pump, higher electricity bills, higher costs for everything that moves by ship: your food, your clothes, your phone. Singapore Airlines and Scoot have already canceled flights to Dubai and other Gulf hubs. Thousands of passengers stranded or rerouted. Stock markets in Asia open tomorrow nervous. Gold is rising. Defense stocks are rising, and that's just day 2. Question number 3. Have you filled your car tank lately? Because the price you pay next week might tell you exactly how close this war feels, no matter how far away it looks on the map. I've seen this movie before. 1973 oil crisis, 1990 Gulf War, 2003 Iraq. Every time the Middle East burns, the price of energy burns with it, and ordinary families thousands of miles away feel it in their monthly budget. Singapore is preparing. SM Lee said we can't control what happens out there, but we can make sure we're ready at home. That's wise advice for every country watching tonight. Russia's Vladimir Putin called it, quote, cynical murder. China and Russia asked for an emergency UN Security Council meeting. France's President Macron warned of, quote, grave consequences. The European Union called for restraint. Britain said Iran must never get a nuclear weapon. Inside Iran, hardliners are vowing to, quote, stab America in the heart. President Trump fired back on social media, quote, if Iran hits very hard, we will hit target them with a force that has never been seen before. Israel says it will keep striking thousands of targets in the coming days. Here's the big unknown, and question number 4 I want you to think about. Will Iran's proxies, Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, militias in Iraq, join the fight? If they do, this stops being a two-front war and becomes a regional firestorm. Will the Iranian people rise up, as Trump and Netanyahu are urging, or will the Revolutionary Guard crack down even harder? In my experience, regime change wars are easy to start and very hard to finish. I watched it in Iraq. I watched it in Libya. The first strikes are dramatic. The years that follow are complicated. Right now, the Pentagon and the IDF say their goal is to destroy Iran's missile program, its nuclear capability, and its ability to arm terror groups. They believe they can do it quickly. History suggests caution. But here's what I know after 40 years. The side that thinks it can control the escalation usually discovers it can't. So, where do we go from here? I wish I could tell you it will be over in a week. I can't. I can tell you this conflict is already changing energy prices, flight schedules, and the balance of power in the Middle East in ways we haven't seen since 1979. I can tell you that families in Tehran and Tel Aviv are scared tonight. And I can tell you that leaders in Singapore, Washington, Jerusalem, and every capital in between are watching the same live feeds you are. This story is moving fast. We will stay on it every hour. If you want to understand what happens next, not the noise, not the spin, but the real story, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and stay with us. Drop a comment right now. What worries you most about this? The oil prices, the risk of wider war, or something else? I read every one. I'm Jack Harlan. Thank you for trusting me with your time tonight. Be safe out there. We'll see you in the next update. Good night.